The excavation campaign of Arslantepe started in 1993, and since then, there have been many campaigns. Many things have been found and much research has been done on these finds. But our task is not over. As the Italian archaeologists who direct the excavations say, we try to bring to light and reveal the secrets of this city step by step, patiently and carefully. There is still so much to learn from this site that is considered the oldest metropolis in Anatolia. But the research work does not end with the discovery and the study of artifacts. Much of the work revolves around the site itself, and the city's layers where new discoveries are made every day. Since 2000, two basic and different but complementary research programs have been active, along with the excavations. The first program deals with the so-called open-air museum, that is the remains of the city's monumental structures that rise above ground level. This includes the Royal Palace, the Citadel or Upper Town, the Great Temple, and the surrounding wall. It also includes other minor buildings and various public areas. The second research program concerns the buried structures. That is the levels beneath the Royal Palace and the Middle Bronze Age city, specifically the Chalcolithic levels starting from the Neolithic ones. In the meantime, many activities that support and complement the excavation activity at the site of Arslantepe have taken place. The research project being done by the Archaeological Mission in Eastern Anatolia is distinguished by its strong multidisciplinary character. Along with excavation work, restoration work is also being done, both on the recovered objects and on the architecture built with green bricks. This work is being done with the collaboration of professionals from Turkey, Italy, and by the Superior Institute of Restoration. Other areas that have been brought forward are specific studies in consolidation and restoration in green brick. A project for the covering and the construction of a museum of the Palatine sector of Arslantepe is underway. This project is environment-sensitive and respectful of the local architectonic techniques. Linked to this project is the realization, summer of 2002, of a specific and ample expositive sector in the structure of the Archaeological Museum of the city of Malatya. The mission has been going on for many years now, and there are many important finds that need to be studied, catalogued, dated, etc. Parallel to the activity of the excavation, the Archaeological Mission in Eastern Anatolia has recently begun a systematic research on the surface area of the entire plain of Malatya and the adjacent Piedmont, and the area between the valleys. Dr. Gianmaria Di Nocera is directing this project in collaboration with CNR. The objective is to individualize, catalog, and localize all of the archaeological sites on traditional maps as well as in computers, with particular reference to the time period from the 2nd to the 5th millennium BC. This work will include geologic, geomorphologic, hydrogeologic, and botanical investigations, which will reconstruct with GIS systems, geographical informative systems, virtual landscapes of the territory of Malatya, from the Chalcolithic period to the Middle Bronze Age, and a thematic cartography constructed on an archaeological database. The Department of Land Science from the University of Rome, La Sapienza, is collaborating with the Archaeological Mission with the aim to supply an absolute stratigraphic sequence of the different phases of occupation of the site. The Paleobotanic section of the Department of Botany from the University of Rome, La Sapienza, has been for years busy with a complex project of environmental reconstruction and the reconstruction of the subsistence economy affected by the inhabitants of Arslantepe during every period of occupation. The Institute for Applied Technology at the Department of Cultural Goods from the CNR of Rome is also involved in the research of the mission. For years, it has been bringing forward an investigation on the birth and development of metallurgical production, of which Arslantepe was one of the most ancient producers. This institute also analyzes prehistoric ceramic composition discovered at the site. The aim is to study production technologies, the place of origin, and the exchange of different ceramics. The studies of archaeozoology are being done in collaboration with Professor Laszlo Bartosiewicz of Loránd Eötvös University in Budapest. Specific studies on paleopathology, that of human recovery from the site of Arslantepe, are being carried forward by Professor Michael Schultz from the Georg August Institute of Anatomy at the University of Göttingen, Germany. The excavation of Arslantepe is taking part in an international study project on the manufacturing of the bony tissue of the animals of ancient times. The scholar Alice Choik, professor at the Central European University of Budapest, and belonging also to the Worked Bone Research Group, WBRG, is bringing forward the study of all the objects that were made with bone and animal horns. The archaeological mission in eastern Anatolia has also begun a project on the study on the origins of the administrative systems, of which Arslantepe had a refined and complex system of documentation based upon the use of seals and signets from the late Chalcolithic levels onward. This project is being done in collaboration with CIRAS, International Center for Archaeological, Anthropological, and Historical Research. Since the beginning of the excavations at Arslantepe, one of the main goals of the Italian team was to carry out rescue excavations at the tell. In fact, the tell was threatened by agricultural activity and, more seriously, by looting. However, the excavations have revealed the extraordinary wealth of the site and the exceptional quality of its stratigraphy. This led the team to reconsider the goal and to prefer a slow but sure analysis of the material to hasty and extensive excavations. The area of the excavations is limited to a small part of the tell, less than a hectare. Inside this area, however, almost the entire sequence of occupations of the site from the Neolithic to the Iron Age has come to light. Thus, the area of the excavations is really very small compared to the extension of the entire settlement. Despite this, the excavations have allowed us to understand how the city functioned throughout its long history and the relationships it had with other contemporary societies. Moreover, the excavations have shown that the settlement was occupied continuously from the late Neolithic until the Iron Age, interrupted only by a short break at the end of the Bronze Age. And this means that the site has a unique importance for understanding the processes of urbanization and state formation in Anatolia. In addition, at present, we can consider the excavation area as a sort of microcosm that can represent the entire settlement. In fact, the area is characterized by a variety of different environments and structures, including domestic buildings, craft workshops, storehouses, temples, citadels, palaces, necropolises, and areas for outdoor activities. Another reason why we prefer not to expand the area of excavations is the enormous amount of work that the current area requires. In fact, each single layer contains tens of thousands of artifacts and hundreds of architectural structures. Analyzing these materials and contexts would require many years of work for each layer and each area. Therefore, we decided to proceed with the analysis of the already excavated material before excavating new areas. To do this, we have set up a new laboratory in the city of Malatya, where a team of experts is working on the analysis and cataloging of the artifacts. As we said before, the work is done in close collaboration with Turkish colleagues, and the resulting scientific publications will be published in both Italian and Turkish. Finally, it should be noted that the excavation campaign is supported by a series of technical and scientific studies aimed at deepening our knowledge of various aspects related to the archaeological site. These range from geological and geomorphological studies to archaeobotanical and zoological studies, passing through historical, epigraphical, and iconographical research. Furthermore, the mission is actively involved in the training of young researchers and in the enhancement of the archaeological heritage. In fact, every year, several Italian and Turkish students take part in the excavations for their training. Moreover, the mission organizes guided tours of the excavation area and the museum for schools and the general public. Thanks to the fruitful collaboration between Italian and Turkish institutions, today, Arslantepe has become the most important archaeological site in eastern Anatolia. Every year, thousands of tourists from all over the world come to visit this fascinating place. The discovery of the royal palace, which began in 2000, was one of the most exciting moments of the excavations. In fact, we realized that the palace was much larger than expected and that it contained unique features, such as the famous throne room. Thanks to the careful analysis of the stratigraphy, it was possible to reconstruct the long history of the building, which underwent numerous transformations throughout its existence. The discovery of the palace has completely changed our understanding of the urban layout of the city, revealing the existence of a monumental district reserved for the elite of the society. Moreover, the discovery of the palace has confirmed the hypothesis that Arslantepe was a planned city, where the urban fabric was designed according to precise criteria. The discovery of the Great Temple was no less exciting. Located in the heart of the city, this imposing building was certainly one of the most important religious buildings in the city. The temple dates back to the early stages of the Iron Age, and its monumental stairway was probably used for rituals and processions. The discovery of the temple has shed light on the religious beliefs of the inhabitants of Arslantepe during the Iron Age, showing how the city was a center of worship for a large region. The discovery of the city walls has allowed us to better understand how the city developed over time. The walls date back to the Middle Bronze Age, but were later restored and expanded. The presence of the walls confirms the importance of Arslantepe as a strategic and defensive center. Furthermore, the analysis of the construction techniques has revealed how the city's population grew and became richer over time. Finally, the discovery of the necropolis has shown how the inhabitants of Arslantepe were strongly influenced by the Mesopotamian culture. In fact, many tombs follow Mesopotamian models, and some even contain mud brick structures similar to those found in Mesopotamia. The discovery of the necropolis has also revealed the existence of a large regional cemetery where people from nearby villages came to bury their dead. Despite these important discoveries, the history of Arslantepe is still little known. In fact, there are still many aspects of the city's past that remain obscure. For example, we still don't know what the city's name was. The Hittite texts mention a city called Tarhuntasa, which may correspond to Arslantepe, but we cannot be certain. We also know little about the city's role in the ancient world. We know that it was an important trading center, but we don't know much about its relations with other cities. Finally, we still don't know how the city ended. The last occupation levels date back to the 7th century BC, but we don't know what happened afterwards. Was the city destroyed by an earthquake or a war, or did it simply decline and get abandoned? To solve these and other mysteries, we need to continue excavating at Arslantepe. In fact, the excavations are still ongoing, and every year new discoveries are made. Who knows? Maybe one day we will succeed in reconstructing the entire history of this fascinating city.